This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rankem. I'm the host, Big B, alongside my prime moose halfway around the world, Tim Hendricks. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Excited on this list. I figured out where I heard the idea come from. I was listening to a podcast. I've been listening to a podcast for quite some time. Matter of fact, it's from the same group that I told you about a podcast.
Okay.
I'm not afraid to shout them out. They have a podcast on all the podcast sites you can find them on. It's a little place called Small Town Murder. They also do a podcast called Crime and Sports. I highly recommend both of them. But I heard that they were doing this show on a Patreon show, so I thought, well, they're gonna make you pay for it. We're gonna let you hear it for free.
Yeah. So we are doing today. Our list is normal. Going to be a good one. I don't know if we're going to get a lot of sniping or if we're going to get a lot of 0-4s, but we are doing the worst teams since 2020, and that's in baseball, basketball, football, because me and Tim don't know too much about hockey. And then we're also doing the worst coaches of all time in those three sports. And then our last category tonight will be WWE's worst gimmicks. So it's kind of the worst, I guess we could say, because typically a lot of people do the best. We're going to flip-flop it here and do kind of the worst. So, all right. So with that being said, let's start off with the worst MLB teams from since 2020. So the COVID years and beyond. So, I think safe to say we could probably have one if we're doing current. We might have a couple, so I'll go two. I'll kick it off and say we start with two.
I like your two. I really twos. 3 is a good possibility. I look at this list. We just said that we could go over. We could go for 5, not do much sniping, and the first thing we do is go above. We go over the 2.5.
Yeah. All right. So you kick it off. What do you have as your number 5 team?
My number 5 team, which is funny because I think 3 years before the 2020 season, take it back about 5 years before the 2020 season, they were in the World Series somewhere in there. And I thought it was absolutely shocking that they went and completely declined. It went on a decline so quick, but things are looking up for this team because now they have what I think would be considered their new face of the franchise. There's somebody they hadn't really had since George Brett. They got Bobby Witt Jr. I think that kid's going to be an absolute stud. He's going to win MVPs. I think this kid's going to do a lot of stuff in Major League Baseball. But with a record of 303 and 399, I've got the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, that is one that you see them got the players that just can't get it together. My number 5, I know people are going to listen and be like, well, you just stated that they made the playoffs, they couldn't get over the hump. Why are they your worst team? I'm going with the local team. I'm going with the Twins. You just sneak in. You get busted in the first round by the Yankees 9 times out of 10. You just won your first playoff series in X amount of years. You just can't get over the hump, and you're just sneaking in. Again, they're sneaking in this year too, and they don't. To me, they don't belong there. But people will say, "Well, you want a playoff team, you get one." I get it, but stop teasing me. Let's get over the hump. So, you're number 4.
Makes me think I should have put the Milwaukee Brewers on here because we make the playoffs. We've made the playoffs now like 8 straight years, and it's
Exactly. You guys are kind of the same way, where you guys are just sneaking in, and then
we just can't get past. We can't get past the Padres, and we can't get past the Dodgers.
Yeah. All right, you're number 4.
My number 4, and I'm almost going to bank you got these guys higher. I'm almost going to bet. I would bet on it right now. And the funny thing is, the 2019 season, this team made the playoffs, which is even worse.
Okay.
But when you have a team that can actually get less people than the Tampa Bay Rays in the stadium, and then you have the audacity to complain that you can't they're going to leave. It's on you. It's on you. It's on your ownership. You can't. It's on the ownership. It's on the fans. I don't care if your team sucks. Even the teams sucked in Tampa. And guess what? They still start. They're trying. They're trying, and they're putting money up to keep that team in Tampa, St. Pete, or Clearwater because it's a tri-city.
Go ahead. Keep going.
But they did this to themselves. They could have moved this team right across the bay and kept the team name, the Team City, because of it being a twin city. But you brought this on yourself, Oakland. This is all on you, the fans and the organization. You guys are a match made in hell. But think about it. The A's start in Philadelphia, went to Kansas City. Guess what? They're a team that's known to move. So no shocker. But my number 4 are the Oakland A's.
Yep. It's funny you bring up Tampa Bay, and I know it's not on my list, but that Tampa Bay team, they don't sell out, but man, some reason they got those rings over the last X amount of years.
You don't want to play. The thing is, and I remember I had season tickets. The first year that they had gone to the playoffs was 08. And it was watching a team go from 5,000 people in the stands to when August and September started coming along, and they're packing that place on a Thursday with 16 to 20,000 people. They get there. I'm telling you, winning brings in the people.
Yep. All right, I'm going to go with the team who's a young team, not the Rays, but they got their one world title because they had some great pitching, and now since then they just kind of fallen off. 2021 Arizona Diamondbacks, 110 losses that year. Just can't put together.
Do I have them, the 2021 Diamondbacks? Yeah, they were on my teams. They were the 4th.
All right, you're number 3.
My number 3. This is a team that, this is another one who's got an up and coming star. But this is and I worked with a guy who was a fan of this team, and the dude's from Florida, and yet how are you a fan of this team is beyond me. But then again, I'm from Wisconsin, and I'm a Penguins fan, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. But this is a team that can't figure it out. You have former players like Andy Van Slyke, you got former players like Bobby Bonilla, and I hate to say these words, but Barry Bonds. You couldn't do it. You couldn't put that team in the playoffs in the World Series then. You can't put it on the team you can't put that team in the playoffs in the World Series now. Hopefully Paul Skeens is going to make a big difference in Pittsburgh, but my number 3 team is the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah. I like Skeens, and I know a couple Pittsburgh fans that are already banking on when his contract's up, he's going to go to the Dodgers, and stuff like that. My number 3 team, kind of like your Pittsburgh Pirates, I got a team that's struggled. They came on, I think, last year, or I think it was last year, that everybody was just hoping they would have had another week of baseball because they would have got in there. But, to watch this team in the early 2000s, early 2020s, just struggle, and now they got a couple studs coming up. 2021, I got also the Orioles from the 2021 season who popped in 110 losses. So, and now they're turning around. So
they were number 3 on my season
All right.
team.
All right.
But my number 2. I'm going to take my number 1 team for the current MLB for the past 5 years, and I'm literally starting to think it was a curse. I literally think it's a curse of a certain player leaving, to go somewhere else. A pitcher not leaving. This is, and this funny thing is, this team had such a good pitching staff, and yet it seems that they couldn't do anything with it. And this big headlining pitcher, and all of a sudden I don't think he lived up to his potential, but that's on me. But when you have a player like Bryce Harper leave to go to the Philadelphia Phillies, and it just seemed like, I think they won a World Series after he left, and then never saw the playoffs after that. And the funny thing is, you had 2 Zimmermans, you had Steven Strasburg, who I think is, to me personally, is probably the biggest bust in baseball history, in the draft history. Yeah. I still remember his rookie card coming out and the people paying millions of dollars for it. And those people are crying now. But my number 2 team is the Washington Nationals.
I forgot the struggle that they went through. I remember listening to a local sports show here, and the caller called in when the Nationals had Harper and Strasburg in the minors, and he's like, "Oh, the Twins need to, trade Punto and Przinsky, I think it was, like 6 guys, and Harper and Strasburg, and the DJ or the host is just like, dude, are you kidding me? There's no team that would do that." And he's like, "Why? They need all the positions I just named off, and we need a pitcher, and we need Harper at the time was a catcher." And it's just like, they're not going to trade their 1-2 prospects for a bunch of BS.
You got to basically, at that point, you got to leverage your entire future on that.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So my number 2 team, you have them at 4. I got them at 2. Just, it was just a running joke when we were doing some other shows here on C2C covering the Oregon Cougars football, that the Oregon Cougars women's professional team could draw more than the Oakland A's at their games. So my number 2 is the Oakland A's. And it's going to suck not seeing the Oakland A's in Oakland in the stat lines anymore. So you're number 1.
So now I'm going to tell you, I replaced my number 1 with this number 1 because you kind of combined, and then I had to go look at the standings this morning and go, there is no team that deserves more than deserves to be the number 1 team on this. How? Are they going to be 50? And I'm going to ask this question about something that's going to happen in the future because the season ends in a week. Are they going to be 50 games behind by the end of the season, or is it just a shock at this point? And the thing that the 2023 Oakland A's was 50-112, and they still wouldn't have been number 1 on this list.
No,
it's still crazy, but I feel bad for anybody who's a White Sox fan because
that's right.
Yeah, this sucks. This is a kick in the face. But I figured I put up I put two different lists together, and I'm gonna use my one list, and I'm going with the 2024 Chicago White Sox, who as of today is 36-120.
Yep. No, I don't think. I mean, if we went all times, there's that Cleveland team that lost 100 and some odd games.
They still have, and the Cleveland team still won more games than this team.
But the White Sox, there's. I mean, if you almost had to do like a major league, the movie Major League, and try to rebuild this team to get them to move. I mean, if you want them to move, but it's somewhere down the road. They lost their heart. They, I don't know if you put on the skipper or what, but yeah, there's just
they lost something, and I don't know.
You want to talk about oh god, you just said the word too, curse. They might have been cursed now after against the Twins when they were up by so much, and we brought in a position player to pitch, and one of the young studs just jacked a grand slam on a 3-0 pitch. So it might be a little curse and a little payback, So
you don't do that.
Yeah. So we got two, and the two I thought we'd get.
You had the White Sox.
Yeah, White Sox are my number one. Yeah. All right, so let's go into the world of NBA again. 2020 season and beyond. Be kind of interesting. I'm going to go with. I'm going to say two again. Depending on which way you went and how you figured it out, but I'm going to
NBA. I'm going. I'll go two. Yeah. I can see it.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm kicking it off, and and this might even be back from when they even started, because I think they've gotten one NBA final, if that. But they've had so many top picks, they just cannot put it together, or the people leave because they can't put it together. I am going with my number 5, the Orlando Magic. They just seem to be cursed since day one. They just can't get it together. So, your number 5.
My number 5, a team owned. I believe they're still owned by the great one himself, Mr. Michael Jordan. I think I'd like to say it's the curse of LaMelo Ball, but I don't know. But this team definitely can't figure it out. I don't know what in the world is wrong in this team. And they haven't even been good since they got their old nickname back. That's even worse.
Uh-huh.
They haven't been good since Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning. And the funny thing is, they're going to say, well, Del Curry. No, they had Del Curry with Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson. Everybody keeps forgetting that. But my number 5 is Charlotte.
At number 4, I got the Charlotte Hornets. And it might just be one of those things where, to a point, can a superstar athlete, a GOAT athlete, be in charge of teams? I mean, I think we're seeing that in a lot of different sports where, they get the big names and they think they know the game, but they just don't know the game.
Look at Gretzky. Gretzky was the head coach in Phoenix, and look what happened in Phoenix. He couldn't coach himself out of a wet paper bag.
I think honestly, that's probably if we did the hockey, that would definitely be a number 1 coach.
Oh, he would have been my number 1. Him and a couple of Dino Cicerelli, not Cicerelli, but Tortorelli might have been another one.
All right, you're number 4.
My number 4. After having some of the greatest teams, think about it. This is the only team that had won 2 championships in between the 2 three-peats in the 90s. And they went back to back. You've been such a household name, and then you turn around and you kind of just you had Yao Ming and did everything you could to get this team back into relevancy. And then 2020 happened, and it just seemed like somebody pulled the plug. And it's crazy. And I think that was one of the reasons why they went and got James Harden, was to try to get them back to where everything is supposed to be. I know for a while there they had Chandler Parsons, but then Chandler got smart and went to Greece. Because the only reason why I know Chandler Parsons went there was because he played for the Gators and got drafted by them. My number 4 is the Houston Rockets.
Yep, at number 3, just pretty much like you said. You did the repeat, you had it going, disassembled, and just haven't been the same Rockets team. So yeah, Houston Rockets number 3. You're number 2.
My number 3.
You're number 3, yes.
My number 3. This one's confusing because this team was formerly owned by the team by the guy that owns number 5 now. How do you have Gilbert Arenas and you can't win? You can't do anything in the playoffs. But that's granted, yeah, that's before 2020. I get that. You have 2 players like John Wall and Bradley Beal, and you can't win. It's unbelievable. I understand that, but see, the thing is, Bradley Beal left a year ago. John Wall left. I think John Wall still might be there. That's how bad that is. Think about it. Michael Jordan had to come out of retirement to play for 2 years and had to give up some of it and relinquish his freaking ownership. I just don't understand this. At this point, it might be better that they go back to their old nickname, the Bullets, because this is just ridiculous. They were a great team in the 70s under Wes Unseld and everything else, and now they just look like a joke. Maybe the magic is maybe they're like their names. They got all the great things and all the glitz, the glamour, but it's a smoke show. It's magic. But my number 3 is the Washington Wizards.
Well, 3 times in a row. My number 2 is the Washington Wizards. Exactly, like you said, in the 70s, early 80s, the Bullets were good. They wouldn't change their name for whatever reason. They brought in Jordan to run it, and then he came out. Yeah, like you said, that's all before 2020, but since then they just have not done it either, So, all right, you're number 1 or number 2.
My number 2, another team that won 3 championships, and it's amazing when you've got players like Robert Horry, Sean Elliott, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, these guys, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. We're talking about guys that are the guys that should probably be in the Hall of Fame one day, and most of them are. And then all of a sudden, it's like this Greg Popovich. All of a sudden, it's like he stayed in the bathwater too long and has found ways to lose. I love Pops. Don't get me wrong. Pops is an amazing coach, and Pops will never be on my worst coaches list. It'll never happen. And then you're going to start banking yourself on a 7'4" guy from France.
19 years old now.
Huh?
He's 19 now.
And he's 19, so he's still not allowed to. He's allowed to drink in France, but he's not allowed to drink in the United States. They're banking so much on him. Here's, and I'm going to say this: if this guy's got Steven Strasburg written all over him. And if this guy doesn't put on weight, he's going to break in half, and it's going to be funny to watch because this team is banking so much on him. But my number 2 is the San Antonio Spurs.
Now, when you say it's funny to watch, no, we're not talking that it's funny to watch him get injured.
No.
I mean, yes, it is funny watching a 7-foot guy that skinny dribbling up the ball. I mean, and then taking shots. He looks. I mean. I wanted to, even though Sean Bradley had some muscle to him, some meat to him, kind of like watching Sean Bradley play again. It just doesn't look
we'll bring it back to a former Washington Bullet. He would look like Manute Bull running up the court.
Yep. There you go. Manute Bull, yeah, there you go. My number 1, you pissed off J-Mac with your Spurs. I'm going to piss off his brother, but his brother will agree. The Detroit Pistons at number 1 just cannot figure it out. They've had the top 10 pick, top 5 pick the last few years and just could not put it together. So your number one.
My number one, it's the phrase that pays. Let's piss off Adam, Mr. Adam Barber. I have the Detroit Pistons. I still remember, what was it, earlier this year, we had a poll going, who was going to have a better record at the if the Detroit Lions is going to have more wins by the end of December than Detroit had in all of December.
Yeah. Yep. No, yeah, they're just dumpster fire written all over. So we did better. We got 4. Pretty much right up the roll there. So let's start with the NFL. Again, since 2020. This could go many different ways depending on what we put together. I'll be confident. I think we'll go 3. I think we got 3.
Okay. I like your 3.
Okay.
Let me check to see how many of these I've got double between the 2.
All right. Well, you kick it off at number 5.
Well, my number 5, if it weren't for 1 year, I think was it last year, Brian Dable's first year as a head coach, I think this team would be a little higher on the list. Was it last year or was it the year before? It was Dable's first year, Brian Dable's first year as a head coach.
Okay.
And this was a team that went 5-0, and they were like the most shocking team that we had talked about. I think it might have been my first year on Morning Tailgate, which you can watch on Sundays, folks. But if it weren't for that, I think they're higher on this list. My number 5 is the New York Giants.
Well, we'll kick it off the phrase that pays right away. Yeah, the New York Giants are struggling right now. They got their money on a guy that who knows who he's throwing to. Talk about somebody that needs probably change of scenery, Danny Dimes. But yeah, the Giants right now just are. They look good, and like you said, they started off 5-0 or 4-0, and then they just went downhill after that. But yeah, Giants, you're number 4.
My number 4, since they're both the same team, I'm going to use the season. Sorry, mess around, because this one's going to hurt. You have to suck that much
not for luck.
And not for luck. That was 2009, 10. That was a ways back. And then you turn around and I'm thinking you didn't hold on to Justin Fields long enough. As Pittsburgh is going to see Indy this week, and I get to see them this week, and we'll tell you who to play tomorrow night on the coach there. See, screwed it up already.
The couch fantasy zone.
Fantasy zone. But the thing is, the greatest thing that happened after that season was the fact is you traded away, got players, and then turned around and got the first pick this year. So my number 4 is the 2022 Chicago Bears.
Well, the phrase that pays, they've had not so good luck over the years. Got to a couple Super Bowls, won one, lost one, but lately they just could not put it together. I'm with you. I think they gave up on Fields. A lot of people can say, well, they had him or whatever. Yeah, but you didn't put stuff around them. But like you said, you fleeced the Panthers out of the first round pick.
Fleeced is a nice word for what they did.
You fleeced them out of last year's pick, and then you turn around and the Panthers suck. So you ended up getting the first overall pick this year, along with and for the whole season, I think until the last couple of weeks, they had the 1 and 2 pick.
Yeah.
So
they did.
Yeah. So yeah, the Bears.
Okay, I had to double check to see who was on this team. And think about it, how good these people were that they just let go. And
All right, you're number 3.
I'm going to go with a different three. I was going to go with that one. Never mind, they're the same three. It's crazy. No, we'll go back up there. Well, I was originally going to say the 2022 team, 2020 team of this team, but then again I realized me singling out the 2020 team hurts a colleague of mine in a way, because if it weren't for the 2020 team, I don't think you get your quarterback. You know, supposedly Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be the second coming of Jesus Christ or Joe Namath in New York, and we all saw what 30 seconds of on-field play for Aaron Rodgers looked like last year. I originally was going to tell you the 2020 team, but again, when the running back is Frank Gore and the starting quarterback is now the current starting quarterback of the undefeated Minnesota Vikings, I thought better of it. This team just flat out sucked in the last 5 years. I don't know if they're any better than what their record shows now, but my number 3 is the New York Jets.
All right. Well, my number 3 is a team that kind of had high hopes going into this year a little bit. Thought maybe they'd get over the hump. They're hanging there. Last few years they've been hanging in there. I know somebody that after his rookie year had him pegged as the MVP, Super Bowl champs, and it didn't pan out. Matter of fact, a couple of us had a $500 bet that he reluctantly never took us up on. And that is one Jacksonville Jaguars.
Like as soon as I'm going, Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah.
All right, you're number 2.
My number 2, well, it's the phrase that pays. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you have and the thing is, and this might be a conversation for Sunday on Morning Tailgate, but and I brought this up with a different quarterback on Sunday, but is the Trevor Lawrence / Charlotte Flair experiment over in Jacksonville? He's got the weapons. He just doesn't know how to use them.
Nope, exactly. Well, we'll go with the phrase that pays again. I just don't know where the Jets are flying to because they're not flying right in New York with the moves they made. So, yes, my number 2 is the New York Jets. You're number 1.
So, speaking of a team that was fleeced by another team, and then all of a sudden, I do a top prime 5 of teams that go 0-2 who are going to win, and I didn't put this team on the list, and that came back to bite me on the butt, only because they started a quarterback called Andy Dalton. Absolutely crazy. Didn't see that happening. James was scared, and it's his team, and rightfully so. But my number 1 is the team that got fleeced by the Chicago Bears, the Carolina Panthers.
Yep. My number 1 is your number 1, the Carolina Panthers. I mean, we thought they were going downhill when they traded McCaffrey away a couple years ago. They showed some spark. I think they ended up winning the rest of their games after that trade. We're like, oh, the Panthers are going to turn it around. And then, of course, last year they did nothing. The Bears fleeced them. They had a chance for their first overall pick this year. Of course, because of the trade, they didn't get it. Panthers, who knows what way they are going.
Sorry, Sarge, but that goes.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, well, 5 for 5.
Yeah, just not the immaculate.
Nope, we've only done that once. So, All right, so let's go into the worst coaches in the MLB. This is all time. I guess it all depends on what our criteria is. So with that being said, I'm going one because I just don't got a feeling right now.
I have a feeling right now.
Yeah.
I like your number one.
It'll be interesting. So I get to start.
Yeah.
I am going to go with a coach who, at a certain time was a great baseball player, and this is where I think kind of the curse comes along. You're great at the sport doesn't mean you're a good coach or manager. He manages the Washington Senators and then the Texas Rangers. I'm going with Ted Williams.
Wow, you went Teddy. You went Teddy ball game. Nice.
Oh.
Nice. I almost thought you were going to say Yogi Berra there for a second.
Oh, yeah, he could have been up there too. So, all right, number 5.
Again, we talk about players who were okay, but couldn't. Sometimes it's like that old phrase: "Those who can't do, coach."
Yep.
He was a serviceable pitcher in Milwaukee. Wish he were better. But then he goes and manages the Cubs for 2 years. And no, it's not. You're thinking it's not Craig Counsell because Craig Counsell's brought us to the playoffs, so I can't really argue. But I think the only reason why he coached for those two, managed for those two teams, is because he only played for those two teams. And I think that there was the fact is that they were familiar with him. But I'm going to go with Dale Swain.
Okay. Looking and doing some research. Somebody's gonna say, well, you can't always put it on the coach why they got a bad record as players. I get it, but we have seen where teams have been bad and then they get a decent coach and it goes up. We've seen teams that are good for whatever reason, the coach leaves, you get a new coach and they go downhill with the same players. And that's what I got to say about the Orioles guy that I got here. At number 4, Bill Reagan.
Oh, I thought oh, shoot. You said Orioles, and I was like, oh, you were kidding me. He found my guy. And then you didn't. Which is strange because I have, at number 4, I have a Baltimore Orioles manager. Again, this is one of those things like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You're at the edge of what you ended with the one guy's career. And then if you wait 3 years before the end of it, 3 years after he gets fired, now you're starting to get stuff like Manny Machado, and you're getting all and all those other guys. And then it's just, and now look at the Orioles. We're talking 12 years later. We're talking where they're becoming a scary team.
Yep.
But my number 4 is also with the Baltimore Orioles. I have Dave Tremblay.
Yeah, that was a good one too. My number 3, older coach the Phillies, coached the Cubs. Of course, back in those days, they weren't that great. It might even be more recent. I didn't write down the years that he coached, but Jimmy Wilson.
Oh my God, you went Jimmy Wilson. Holy smokes. Yeah, he was terrible.
You're number 3.
Again, another guy whose timing happens before everything happens big. If he brings up players earlier, does he stay around longer? Especially when you're around for 2010 to 2012. If you still had players like Osmus on the team, you still had all the other guys on this roster, but you were starting to get the players that became the guys who ended up winning the World Series. Just 7 years down the road, 8 years down, 6 years down, 6, 7 years down the road, even if there is an asterisk by one of theirs. My number 3 is the Houston Astros, Brad Mills.
Ooh. Okay. All right, my number 2 again. Go back to you're a great player, you're a consistent player. Your team's one of your team's probably top 25 players, if not top 5. You go to coach the team, you don't do so well, you win 43 games in about the year that you spent with them. That's the former shortstop of the Tigers, Alan Trammell. Your number 1.
My number 2.
Number 2. Yep.
My number 2 is a guy who had Andrew McCutcheon, and that guy was a wasted player on this team. I think it's like that brief little period after my number 2 is gone from this organization, all of a sudden shows up and plays mediocre, and then as we found out that's the problem when you're in the same division as the Cubs and the Cardinals and sometimes the Brewers. And at the time that this manager was there, even the Reds were an amazing team to play for. They were playing some amazing baseball. To be the crap team, and this manager seems to be there at the bottom of the list in the NL Central. Again, this is a guy who waited 3 more years, would have been might have been the guy to put this team back in the playoffs and back into the hunt for stuff, but he just didn't. I think that's a managerial problem. My number 2 is the Pittsburgh Pirates' John Russell.
I had him on there too. My number 1 is a guy who bounced around from team to team, and I don't know how he got his jobs. He Tigers, Rockies, Royals. He might have been there before the Royals won their title, went from last to first, maybe. I'm not positive. Won Buddy Bell.
That was before. That was well before.
Was that well before? Okay.
Buddy Bell was Buddy Bell. I think Buddy Bell was the guy who replaced Dick Hauser.
Okay. All right. Your number 1.
My number 1 is the phrase that pays. I saw this list and it's strange when you win World Series and you can't with the team that you coach and you can't do it. My number 1 is your number 2, Alan Trammell.
All right. So let's go into the world of the hardcore, the NBA. This one could be all over the place.
This is scary.
But yeah, I'm gonna play it safe. I think we got 1.
Ooh, you might hate me on one of these.
I probably have the same one.
Oh, yeah. I'll say 3.
All right. Yeah, I mean I can see 2 maybe, but yeah. All right, well, kick it off.
My number 5 is a former Milwaukee Buck who got traded with John Brockington in the Hakeem Olajuwon trade. Yeah, because we had Hakeem in Milwaukee for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar time. I believe he's one of the first head coaches of this organization, of the Vancouver Grizzlies. Coached a year with the Golden State Warriors before the Splash Brothers ever got there, and was at one point a current head coach. He can't be a current head coach. Is a former head coach of a former schoolmate of mine in the current home of one Caitlin Clark. He's not coaching there now, but Anna DeForge was one of his players in 2006 for the Indiana Fever. I remember when my number 5 was with the Vancouver Grizzlies. It's so bad they had to leave the city. I remember the Vancouver Grizzlies being the laughing stock, but they had the greatest jerseys in the world. Don't get me wrong. I thought they were cool jerseys. And I think he was the head coach after PJ Carlesimo in Golden State. My number 5 is Brian Winters.
All right. My number 4, worst NBA coach. Again, another guy that bounced around to a couple different teams. The Bulls, I believe the Hornets. Just could not put it together, and especially when you're in Chicago, you're living up to the hype of Phil Jackson. So, yeah, you got a lot on your shoulders. 1, Tim Floyd. Your number 3.
My number 4.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nope. Okay. I'll switch that. I thought I would start it.
No,
So actually, Tim Floyd, we'll move him down to 5 because I didn't do my part.
That was your number 5. Okay.
No.
This is the Alan Trammell effect again on this guy. You win a world championship, especially with a team like Showtime with Magic Johnson and James Worthy and the like, and then you get drafted, and then you can become the head coach of the same team, thinking that, hey, you're going to bring a championship back to this team, and then he goes to a little tiny basketball team in Minnesota and coaches the Timberwolves for a brief period of time, and then he didn't get them a championship. Didn't do all that great there either. And then for some reason, since he was such a fine, upstanding coach, winning all those games with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Knicks thought it'd be a great idea to bring him in too. Didn't win a championship for them either. So, but that sucks. But, he did get a ring. He got a ring when he was a player. My number 4 is the guy with the spectacles himself, Kurt Rambis.
Oh, that's a good one. I forgot about him. I forgot about him being in Minnesota. Yeah. My number 5 or 4. I did have a 5, but I flip-flopped because I'm a moron. It just shows that good college coaches don't pan out that well in the NBA. He lasted 1 year, and I think a lot of people wanted him gone halfway through that year. Joe Calipari.
Oh, wow.
John Calipari, I'm sorry.
John Calipari. He was with what? The Celtics?
Yeah, I think it was Celtics. I think they wanted him gone like halfway through the season.
I remember that. He sucked. Now he's in what, Arkansas?
Yeah, I think so. You're number 3.
My number 3, and I'm not trying to pick on your team, but this just happens.
No, we've had some bad coaches.
A head coach for I don't even know. And if I saw the picture of this guy, I don't remember him myself, but they show a profile picture of him wearing a red sport coat. I'm trying to figure out if he wore that to every home game or was it a special day or something? Oh, now you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because
I'm trying to think we had the red sport coat.
He used to be the head coach over for the Minnesota Timberwolves and then went to Memphis. So basically he kind of links Kurt Rambis and Brian Winters together in a way. He's so unmemorable. When I looked him up, I don't remember him. That means he sucks. But my number 3 is Sidney Lowe.
Yeah, he only wore that. I think he wore that on a special occasion.
Okay. Did they win that game?
I don't know. If they won it, they should have kept. They should have made him wear it. So this guy coached 95 to 97, 01 to 02, and only got 36 victories. Brian Witter?
Brian Witters. My number 5.
Yep. Oh, that's number 5. Okay. I guess I didn't pay attention to your number 5. All right. All right, your number 2.
My number 2 is a phrase that pays. Since you decided to bring up my number 5 at your number 3, I will bring up your number 5/4 up at number 2. I remember when Tim Floyd was coming out of Iowa State, and the next thing he was supposed to be the next big. He was supposed to be the huge thing going to Chicago, and next thing you know, it was like they wanted him out faster than they wanted Calipari out of Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, that was right. Well, my number 2 lasted not even one season, I don't think. Had 11 victories. Bill Haslick?
Bill Haslick. I know the guy. I've heard of the guy.
Yeah. You're number 1.
And we're going back to the Detroit guy who like wins championships and can't win anywhere else. But he didn't go to Detroit to try to win an NBA Finals. Larry Bird was so nice enough to bring him in and thought it would be cool to see if he could win a championship for the Pacers. That didn't work out. And then Jimmy Dolan in New York wanted him to go there too. And next thing you know, he was unceremoniously let go. Well, no, technically he was ceremoniously let go because of him opening his mouth a bit too wide to the wrong person. My number 1 is Isaiah Thomas.
Where did he coach at? Was it Detroit?
He in Indiana and New York.
Oh, he went to Indiana for a little bit. Okay. Well, phrase that pays. Honestly, I would have really thought about it. Every Minnesota coach outside of Flip Saunders and the guy we got now could have been on this list in some way or form. But yeah, Sidney Lowe, I mean, for time he was here, it was Lowe. I mean, and the thing is you talk about curses. Minnesota couldn't even get the number 1 pick when they had the worst records. I mean,
good. That was the year. It was like Sidney Lowe was like there when Garnett was there.
Yeah, no, I think it was kind of. I think they overlap, but I think, I mean, you had Dwayne Casey, you had Kurt Rambish, you had Lowe, you had Kevin McHale was here for.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the McHale years. That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. So let's go into the NFL.
Whoa.
Again, another one. Tim is already moaning. I kind of went just the season type. A couple of them are career ones, but
no, mine are all career ones. They just happened last one season.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go slim, and I did double up on one. But I'm gonna go 1. I think it's gonna be 1.
I give me 2. I say 2.
All right. I'm going to go with number 5, just like I said in the NBA. You can be a good college coach, but it doesn't transfer over to the NFL or pro side of things. I am going to go with one who coached the Jets for 13 games and only got 3 victories out of those 13 games, Lou Holtz.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. That's a good one.
You're number 5.
Oh, I can't even remember. And the funny thing is I saw this name and I'm like, I couldn't even remember that he was the head coach there. This is the guy. My number 5 is he's been there he was there so long ago that they were still called the Redskins. That's how long ago it was. And this guy was this is the guy that started the whole string of terrible coaches for the Redskins after Joe Gibbs retired the first time. It was so bad. They had such a string of bad luck that they actually had to bring Joe back out of retirement so he could own a race car team and coach an NFL team. But my number 5 went 4-12 after Joe Gibbs won a Super Bowl with the team the year before. My number 5 is Richie Pettibone.
My number 4, I got a double up for the same team because it just seems like, especially after you come off the, Belichick tree, you can't do nothing. And I think the other one's more recent guy. Actually, probably both within the last few years. My number 4 is from the Denver Broncos, Josh McDaniels and Nathan Hackett.
Ooh, you went Nathan Hackett.
Wow.
Josh McDaniels sucks twice. That's the sad thing. My number 4, I'm starting to think that this guy was was trying to clear out house in Miami. He's cleaned out house so much that he basically gave Tom Brady one of his favorite weapons. Cut and traded a bunch of players from that team. A team that probably could have won him the Super Bowl, but who knows? We're not that smart. And this was the team, if I'm not mistaken, this is the coach that followed Nick Saban at Miami. It's scary, which I have a feeling you have him on your team, on your roster. A guy who goes 1-5 and you're number 4 on my list. That's kind of scary. My number 4 is Cam Cameron of the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. My number 3, former Kansas City coach. I don't think he's anywhere right now.
He is. I think he's in Houston. I can't. If I'm thinking, if it's a guy, I think it is. I think he's the former defensive. I think he's the defensive coordinator in Houston.
But anyways, it couldn't do nothing with the team he had. But yet, you bring in, I think, Andy Reid after that, and Andy Reid turns him around just like that. Romeo Crennel.
Yeah, I saw that one. I'm like, God, yeah, I think he might be another one on the New England Patriots.
Yeah, exactly. Your number 3.
My number 3. Well, we're going to go with the New England Patriot theme since we're doing a wonderful job of it. It's funny when, I think I had his card in 90. This is like the head coach before Bill Belichick goes to New England. So it's kind of scary. This guy had no control over his locker room. How you last the full season is beyond me. And after what the players did by sexually harassing and verbally harassing Lisa Olson, the reporter from the Boston Globe, how do you still have a job at this point? You have no control on your team. You win. You go 1-15. There's lawlessness. Of course, you bring in Bill Belichick. Kid guy went to West Point. Next thing you know, he's going to bring in military type style of stuff in. But my number 3 is Rod Rust of the New England Patriots.
Okay. My number 2.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're a good team now, but back in the day they just couldn't beat a elementary team. They couldn't beat a Sandlot team. And my number 2 is Marty Morningwig, Detroit Lions.
Holy smokes, me with Marty Morningwig. I forgot all about Marty Morningwig.
Your number 2.
My number 2, they always say you're the toughest critic on the one you love, and much like you said about Lou Holtz, just because you're a college coach doesn't mean you're a great college coach. It doesn't mean you're going to be a great head coach. And the team brought this coach in because he coached down the road and thought he was going to put butts in the seats and he was going to win. And you lost your locker room and you don't even finish out the season in Jacksonville, and all of the stupid things that happen there. And you screw around in a bar with a woman that's not your wife. And, that was just the cherry on the cake at that point. My number 2, and this pains me to say it because I have an autograph. I've met the man. He's a great guy. Just hurts when I say it. But Urban Meyer.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he also bring Tebow in to play tight end too?
He brought him in to play tight end. Everybody's like, "Oh, you need to bring him in to play quarterback." Truthfully, if they didn't go 2-11, they don't have Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's true. Well, my number 1, and kind of like what you just said with Morningwig, I do like this coach. I think he just had a good coach mentality. You did not want to see this guy. Well, 1, you didn't want to see the guy get angry, but 2, you didn't want to see him get angry because of his health. But with that being said, when he left the Bears and went to the Saints, he pulled out probably the second stupidest trade in NFL history. You talk about wagering on your future. You traded all your draft picks for one guy. You didn't even last, I don't think, 2 seasons there. And that is one Coach Mike Ditka.
That's just he's the reason why.
And honestly, outside of that, I love the guy.
I love the guy. I think the guy's brilliant. Truthfully, he's the poster boy of why head coaches shouldn't be GMs.
Yep, exactly.
As a head coach,
right. You're right. You're number one.
My number one, I think he got jobbed when Michael Vick got arrested for dog fighting and was on bail and couldn't leave the state of Virginia. He knew he was in trouble so much that he left after week 14 to take the job in Arkansas. To be honest, this guy was a sinking ship before he got there, and he just happened to keep going on. If I'm not mistaken, he used to be the head coach at Rutgers, and I thought he was a flaming bag of dog crap when he left Rutgers. He was at Rutgers. Now I'm thinking about it, and he didn't do any better in Arkansas either. So he proves my point. My number one is the Atlanta Falcons' Bobby Petrino.
Yep. All right, so let's get to one of our last 2 categories because I do have a list here that I just pulled up.
And Nick Saban not on this list as a head coach.
No, should have been probably.
Should have been.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the squared circle. We're going to go to the worst gimmicks in WWE history. Wrestling. I'll go wrestling just in case you threw one out there, because I actually got a couple from WCW days. So
I do too. I've got 3
in wrestling.
I've got 3.
All right. Well, you kick it. You got 3. Okay.
I've got 3. I've got 3 from WCW.
Yeah, we're gonna double up there. I'll go.
I'll go 2.
I'm gonna go 2, but I think where I doubled up at, I got both of your guys. So, yeah, we'll go 2. All right, so go with your number 5.
When I met this gentleman, this is one of these questions that I asked him. I asked, "What is the worst gimmick that you ever had?" Boy, that was quick.
Well, right here.
Like I got.
How did that pop up?
I don't know, but
all right, go ahead.
So I said, "What was the worst gimmick that you ever got?" And he says, "I was in WCW, and they thought it'd be great to do these little vignettes of me looking inside of a kid's window, and thought it would be cool." And then he proceeded to ask me if I watched his meltdown on WCW and about how he hated that gimmick. And I said, "I'm going to ask you for an autograph. I'm not going to ask you for that one." And was really, really, really such a nice guy. Absolutely the better of the Rhodes boys, to be honest. My number 5 is the former Dustin Rhodes character from WCW 7.
Oh, I had him there, and just because it was just that one promo, I'm just like, I can't put that on it. That promo was on fire, though. I mean, that was
lit.
Yeah, that one. I that is a worse gimmick, but I was just like, they didn't do nothing with it. He came out floating. He did his little, looking through the windows and stuff. But it wasn't a match or anything. I mean, so it's there. I mean, he's definitely up there. I should have kept it on my list. But.
He had never had a match with that character.
Nope. All right, my number 5. Some people are going to say, "Oh, you're going to pick on Roman Reigns' family and stuff like that," but some of their gimmicks they've had, just doesn't pan out. This one, I like the wrestler, just didn't like the gimmick. I am going to go Rosie as the superhero in training.
I knew it. I didn't put him on here, but I'm going, God, as soon as you said the bloodline, I'm going, he's going Rosie. He's going Rosie. He's going Roman's brother, Rosie. He's doing it.
Yep. You're number 4.
My number 4, and God, I really wished that the Mean Street Posse would have been a face team, a face stable, but they weren't, because I always wanted to see him go up against this stable, a stable that gave us the former Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth. I hated this group. Oh my! And to me, I thought they should have gotten their ass whooped every week. I thought it would have been great. My number 4 is that stupid cheerleader group called the Spirit Squad.
It was comical. They're not funny, but Randy, our great beloved Randy, who hosts his entertainment hour, who likes to steal a lot of our list. He's got one here: Shockmaster, the Goobling Gobbler. I can't consider that one a gimmick because it wasn't a wrestler. It was.
He wrestled.
Did he?
Yeah, he wrestled. You got to remember that was Guerrero. That was Chavo Senior.
Dressed up as the chicken?
Yeah, he wrestled as the
Goblin. I never thought that he. I mean, I know he got in the ring in like the gimmick battle royal stuff, but I think they wrestled outside.
Oh yeah, he wrestled. I think
Eugene, which
he wrestled 2 matches. But
Eugene, I
liked Eugene.
I liked Eugene. I didn't like what he portrayed. So yeah, I guess he's up there. Bo Dallas, believe that was,
Yeah, no, we all know it's.
Stardust did Stardust was cool and all, but I don't think it fit Cody Rhodes. I don't think that one. No, I don't think that one.
Then there's Bo Dallas. Joe Hendry is basically Bo Dallas 2.0.
That would be. I think that would be a good team. Joe Hendry and Bo Dallas. My number 4. We talk sports. This guy was a sport guy, and I get why they called him that. I think he had no ring talent, but and of course in hockey you don't need to be that. You're the enforcer. I'm going number 4, the Goon.
I found this out not too long ago that the Goon was Bill Irwin from Mid South from the Von Erichs group. So I was like, wow.
You're number 3.
My number 3. I don't know what in the world WCW was thinking. You got a talent. The guy's 7'4", and you thought, hey, this is going to be a great idea. And next thing you know is you start basically wrapping him up in freaking toilet paper and sending him down to the ring. And it's absolutely the guy had no talent. That guy had no talent. I think he showed up like once or twice and then just basically fell away. And if I'm wrong, believe me, Dragon Viper is going to tell me I'm wrong. But my number 3 is the Yeti.
All right. I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for this one. The gimmick was stupid because, one, if you're trying to mask up a guy that we all know who he is and you don't change his voice, you just cover his face, give him the red, white, and blue. The gimmick just never worked for me. The storyline, on the other hand, was okay, not the greatest, but Hulk Hogan as Captain America or Mr. America just, did nothing.
I thought you were going to say Juan Cena, but that's just me. That was terrible.
Your number 2.
My number 2. Well, I'm going to give Mr. Dragon Viper a snipe on this. A guy who's, again, WCW. WCW knows how to screw up an entrance. They know how to screw up a gimmick. They know how to screw up anything. And then you decide to put this guy in a helmet where he couldn't see. Okay, this is just ridiculous. A stormtrooper helmet from Star Wars at that, and you cover over the eye holes with glitter. And then I don't think this guy ever wrestled. I know he wrestled under different names.
Yeah, but I don't think he might have had one match as that person.
But when Sid Justice because there's Sid Justice at the time, sees him goes breaking through a wall and falls over, and Sid's trying not to laugh, and Sid's not a guy who tries to laugh. It's hilarious. Yeah. My number 2, and the funny thing is, who's they were telling me about who did the voice backstage, because he couldn't say anything because of the stupid mask, because they couldn't mic the mask. I think they were saying it was Ole Anderson was doing the voice.
Oh, possibly.
From backstage. And to think that Ole Anderson is trying to be this guy, and it just sounded like Batman with a head cold, which is hilarious. I'm going to give the snipe to Dragon Viper, but my number 2 is the Shockmaster.
All right, I got 2 at number 2. One is your number 3 at the Yeti. The next one is, you've seen interviews of this guy, and he says that this is his worst gimmick that he's ever done. And to know it was Kevin Nash.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I am going with Oz. So Yeti and the Oz.
Yeti and the Oz.
Yeah, you're number 1.
Well, I've got to give all the credit in the world being sniped by Dragon Viper, and I had of course I had to defend it by saying he never had a match, and of course he had a match. And my number 1 is the Gobbledygooker.
Well, my number 1's a tag team.
Oh no!
Which they came out just goofy as heck. I think they wrestled twice, if that, before WWF at the time had to pull them. Even though they did not use the name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they actually came out dressed as turtles. They called them, heck, I don't even know what they called them. But yes, it is the Turtle Tag Team that came out. That was just one heck of
a really?
Yeah, that was just so goofy. All right. So we talked about, our list today. I found the list from yardbaker.com. The top 25 fictional coaches. Top 25 coaches. So some of these movies I have not seen.
I've seen a lot of sports movies.
So this one is more recent movie. It's a football coach that coaches overseas. Ted Lasso in the movie.
Oh, Ted Lasso. Yeah, that's it's a soccer movie or show, TV show.
Yep. Jason
Sudeikis.
Yep.
This is the game of Brandon's going to tell me the movie, and I'm going to tell you the actor.
Yep. Number, which I thought was a pretty good movie. Coach wise, I don't know. But we have Bobby Finstock coaching the basketball team in Teen Wolf.
Oh yeah, the guy didn't do anything.
Yeah. Great movie. This one I think should be a little bit higher up because his team said they didn't want to play for anybody else but him. They're thinking about letting him go, and that was Gene Hackman's character in The Hoosiers, Norm Dale.
That's ridiculous. That should be a top 10 head coach.
Yep. Another one here in the hockey. I think this one was a great. At least the first movie was great. The other two, so. You got Gordon Bombay with the Mighty Ducks.
That should be higher too.
This another great movie. The coach should be higher up. The character, I didn't like the remake of the movie, but Morris Buttermaker with the Bad News Bears.
Which one did you like? Did you like the Walter Matthau or the Billy Bob Thornton?
Oh, Walter Matthau, the original. Yeah. Billy Bob Thornton. They redid that way too much.
Yeah, and the thing was nice. The only thing that had anything that was close was the fact is that Billy Bob actually played minor league baseball.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yep. So next movie, Coach Reggie Dunlap in the Slap Shot.
Oh man, I didn't see that. That's the Paul Newman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this one's actually a TV show, but I actually like the coach. And they did try to do a pro, him going up into the pros after X amount of years. That's Hayden Fox from the TV show Coach.
Yeah, that was a. No, I like Hayden Fox. That was a
I
good.
did
I
too.
love.
I think it should have been up there a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Another player coach movie, semi-pro. We got Jackie Moon,
Oh yeah.
Will Ferrell.
Okay. Yeah. Will Ferrell.
Yep. Uh, we are going into the Olympics. We're going into bobsledding.
Oh,
We got
bobsledding.
Ivan Blitzer as the coach for Team Cool Running.
I was going to say he's going to come back with Herb Brooks here in a second. I'm going to be absolutely mad that Herb Brooks is down that low.
Yeah, but that's not a fictional character. That's actually real.
No, that was a real person. You're right. Actually, Cool Runnings that isn't a fictional.
That is true. You are right. It is based on a. Yeah.
It is based on the real coach.
Yep. So next one, we're going into the ring. We're going into boxing. Mickey Goldman for Rocky.
Okay, Burgess Meredith. Okay, cool.
Yep. Going back to the gridiron. He coached in the Hoosiers. He comes back and coaches in the replacement. Jimmy McGrittin. Gene Hackman.
I love Gene Hackman in that movie. I love Keanu Reeves in that movie.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves was good in that movie.
Jon Favreau's really good in that movie too.
Yep. Brought him up. I know J-Mac brings up a lot of these catchphrases in this movie. But what can you say about Lou Brock in Major League?
Yeah, he should be higher.
Yeah.
He should be a whole hell of a lot higher.
All right. Next movie based on a true story, but I don't think the coach is actually that true. But we are going into the League of Their Own. Jimmy Dugan. Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I don't know if he's the real head. I don't think he was the real coach.
No, I don't think so either. All right, we're going into a movie where I've seen a lot of ads for this making a second one. I think they're actually starting to pull up screenshots now, and that is Happy Gilmore coach Chubbs Peterson.
Oh man, Chubbs. That's a good one. But he was. Would you really consider him a coach? Because he dies almost halfway through that movie.
Yeah. Well, I guess the next one, I guess you call him a coach, but in the movie you call him a sensei. That's Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that because he still coached him into a sporting event. So yeah,
yep, exactly. Friday Night Lights coach Eric Taylor.
Ooh, they brought in Kyle. I didn't think they were going to bring in Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, was that the series or was that the movie?
They are just saying
Billy Bob Thornton. Never mind.
Yeah, no, they're saying the TV series.
The TV series is so much better than the movie.
So now we got our only female coach on this list. It looks like for the Wildcats, Molly McGrath, played by Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn. Do you know who's in that movie and nobody realizes it when they see it?
Wesley
Snipes and Woody Harrelson are both in that movie.
Okay. They just show a picture of Wesley Snipes. Next movie, back to the gridiron. Two brothers facing off against each other in the movie Little Giants. And you got Danny O'Shea.
Oh, now Danny O'Shea, is that the Rick Moranis one, or is that the Al Bundy guy?
No, the other one. Yeah, Rick Moranis. Yep.
Rick Moranis?
Yeah, where he coaches pretty much a Sandlot team. Yep.
Right.
All right, Waterboy. We got Coach Klein.
Coach Klein. Hey, Bobby, it's me, your daddy, Roberto.
Yeah. We go into dodgeball. We got Patches O'Houlihan.
That guy's a great coach. He should be number. What number is this?
We're in the top 10.
He should be number 1. I love Patches
Well,
O'Houlihan.
maybe, yeah.
I love Patches.
All right.
Al Pacino's coming somewhere. Pacino's coming somewhere.
Who?
I know it's coming. Al Pacino.
All right. Well, Days of Thunder. We got the head guy, Harry Hoggs.
You get Harry. Yeah, that's what's his name?
All right.
Yeah, it's gonna take me a year to get it, so don't.
Robert Duvall.
That's it.
At number, I don't know. They really haven't numbered these, but the
At
next
this number.
one, I love this movie. I love the quarterback in this movie. And this is the movie I think you're thinking about. Al Pacino and with
Any Given Sunday.
DeMonte.
Yep, Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday. Yep.
Al Pacino.
Rookie of the Year. This is more of the bullpen coach on this one.
Daniel Stern?
Nope, Daniel Brickman.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who played him. Was that Daniel Stern?
That was does it say here?
I can remember Daniel Stern, but I can't.
Yeah, Daniel Stern. Yep.
I can remember Daniel Stern, but I can't remember Robert Duvall.
Yeah. Next one. He coaches the Pee Wee's team in his TV show The Simpsons. Homer Simpson as the Pee Wee's coach.
He's a better ref.
Yeah. This movie is Adventures of Pete and Pete. Amateur wrestling. Ellen Hickel. I don't think I've seen that one.
I'm still waiting for Nick Nolte from Blue Chips.
You're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I kind of wondered.
Number one.
Yeah, number one. So number one.
Let's go with Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, Danny Glover. Yeah, Danny Glover. Yeah.
Danny Glover, which is another one where everybody said they would only play for him. So
the greatest Matthew McConaughey movie ever.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he plays left field, right field.
Yeah. So that being said, that's our list for today. Tim, any final thoughts?
Watch all of our great shows. I learned a lot from James this weekend, so it's great. Watch our great shows. I don't remember them all, but we've got great shows. Watch us again tomorrow night. Tomorrow night for me, tomorrow afternoon for you.
Yep.
On the Couch Fantasy Zone, and watch us again on Sunday for Morning Tailgate, where we're going to completely not know a clue what we're talking about. I went 7-9 last week. Absolutely terrible. So don't take what I say with if you're putting money on anything, don't. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So tomorrow, the Couch Fantasy Zone, where we talk football, who you're going to play, not play in your weekly teams. Breaking news here 4 minutes ago. In ESPN, Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre announced he has recently been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say this. I'm not shocked. Well, no, the thing is with all the concussions, and this is the thing that you got to worry about. And the thing is, he was also addicted to Percocet and all that stuff back in the 90s because of his concussions. Not real shocked, but Parkinson's, I understand that Parkinson's can be hereditary, so I'm not gonna throw shades, but maybe the concussions and two, if you're watching, pay attention. Maybe the concussions and the painkillers maybe exacerbated or accelerated the movement of this illness. You're going to tell me another person, right? Who died?
Nope. Well, no. I was just reading the story. Brett Favre has come out.
Congratulations! He's come out as being gay.
He's come out in a previous interview, previously saying that he believes I'm going to I'm going to give you an over-under number. Brett Favre has, in his 20 careers, believes he has had over or under 500 concussions.
500. Holy smokes.
What do you
I
say?
mean, what? Oh my God, over. But the thing is, because you brought it, you had the number so high, it's ridiculous that it went under. I've had under 500, but then again, that means
He claims that he believes he has had 1,000 concussions.
that means he had to have tripped, fallen, and hit his head. I'm okay. I know this is a joking, and this is just joking. And all joking aside, I hope he fights this well. But thing is, gotta remember, Muhammad Ali had Parkinson's at the end too, and he took a lot of punches to the head. But the joke about it is the fact is, to get 1,000 concussions, you've had to sneeze and your head goes forward and you've gotten a concussion.
Well, but too, just think of, how many times that guy got hit.
Think of but also think about that. All the concussions that he could have masked by taking all the painkillers that he was taking before the game, or everything that it's not a shock. It's just really not. And Parkinson's, like, it's, in all seriousness, Tua needs to hear Brett Favre and really think long and hard.
So also too, a quick note here. ESPN released their final grades for all 30 MLB teams. Tim, where do you think they graded your Milwaukee Brewers?
They should be an A because we gave half the freaking team away at the beginning of the season.
They are an A.
We gave away Corbin Burns.
The Guardians are an A. The Royals, A minus. Phillies, A minus. Those are the A teams. And B's, you got the Yankees, the Padres, the Tigers.
Two of those teams don't count. The two of those teams don't count because they paid for the rosters.
The Diamondbacks had a B. Houston had a B. Orioles had a B minus. I'm kind of shocked. I figured they would get up there. Those are the B teams. The C's, which I will disagree with this first C team to the day this year because they just are so inconsistent. They got a C plus for the Minnesota Twins. They should be lower because they haven't done nothing. They're just so hit or miss. I know a lot of it has to do with the injuries with their big guys. But, yeah. Also, C's are the Dodgers, the Pirates, the Nationals, the Athletics with the
Dodgers. The Dodgers, who probably will will get the 1 seed, is a D.
Yeah, and the MVP. The Braves, a C team. The Red Sox, a C team. The Mariners, a C team. Cardinals, C minus. Rays, C minus. The Cubs, C minus. That's the C teams. Now the D's. You got the Reds at D, which they just fired their coach. I can see why. The Giants at a D. The Blue Jays at a D. The Rangers at a D minus. The Rockies at a D minus.
The Rangers think about it. Rangers should be an F because they just had the World Series and they're not even fighting.
Yep. The F teams, the Marlins, the Angels, and finally, they are
a triple
F with quad minuses behind there, the White Sox.
The triple F team. I could make a bro code conversation about.
So with that being said, that's our show for today. Again, we got a couple comments here. I'm guessing from Mr. Dragon Viper. No, Kevin. Kevin, how you doing? Just want to say hi, Kevin. Again,
how you doing?
How's it going? If you guys want to check out some cards, he's got a good card collection going. Some sales on Clapper. I'm actually also in talks. He wants to come on to talk a little fantasy football. So we might have a special guest tomorrow helping us dictate our fantasy team. So I'll get with him later today and see if he wants to hop on. So he's also a big wrestling fan. He's got a nice Jimmy Uso signed card. Not Jimmy, Jey Uso. A nice Jey Uso signed card. So he's a big wrestling fan too. So maybe we'll have a special guest tomorrow. So Kevin, if you're watching, we'll talk. So that being said, we'll see you guys tomorrow on the Couch Fantasy Zone.
Oh, we got it right.
And then, yep.